The story of Netflix began in 1997, long before streaming movies on the internet became normal. At that time, most people rented movies from physical stores where they had to drive to the location, choose a DVD or videotape, and return it a few days later. One of the biggest companies in this business was Blockbuster LLC. Blockbuster had thousands of stores across the world, and for many families, renting a movie from these stores was part of their weekend routine. Few people imagined that this system would soon change completely. The idea for Netflix started with two entrepreneurs, Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph. Both men were interested in technology and business. Reed Hastings had already started and sold a successful software company before thinking about Netflix. Mark Randolph had experience in marketing and product development. Together, they began discussing new business ideas during car rides to work. They were looking for a way to use the growing power of the internet to create something different. Famous story is often told about how Reed Hastings got the idea for Netflix. According to the story, Hastings once rented a movie and forgot to return it on time. The movie was Apollo 13, and when he finally returned it, he had to pay a late fee of about $40. This made him think about how frustrating late fees could be for customers. He wondered if there could be a way to rent movies without worrying about penalties. Although this story may not be the only reason Netflix started, it became a powerful symbol of the problem the company wanted to solve. Around the same time, a new technology was becoming popular, the DVD. DVDs were smaller and lighter than traditional videotapes, which made them easier to ship through the mail. Hastings and Randolph realized that DVDs could be mailed to customers instead of requiring them to visit a store. This idea was simple but revolutionary. Instead of driving to a rental shop, customers could order a movie online and receive it in their mailbox. In 1997, Hastings and Randolph officially started Netflix in Los Gatos, California. The early version of the company was small and experimental. The founders were not even sure whether mailing DVDs would work. To test the idea, they placed a DVD inside a normal envelope and mailed it to a friend. When the DVD arrived safely without damage, they knew the concept could succeed. In the beginning, Netflix worked as an online movie store where customers could rent DVDs one at a time. Users visited the website, chose a movie, and Netflix would send the DVD through the mail. After watching the movie, customers mailed it back in a prepaid envelope. This system was very convenient compared to visiting a rental store. However, the early days of Netflix were not easy. The company had very few customers at first, and many people were still unfamiliar with ordering products online. The founders also had to build a complex system to manage DVD shipments across the country. Every order required packaging, shipping, and tracking. Despite these challenges, Hastings and Randolph believed strongly in their idea. They thought that if they could make renting movies simple, affordable, and convenient, customers would eventually notice the difference. What started as a small experiment in California would slowly grow into one of the most powerful entertainment companies in the world. But at the time, Netflix was still just a small startup trying to survive in an industry dominated by giant companies. The real challenge was still ahead, convincing millions of people to change how they rented movies. In the late 1990s, Netflix was still a small company trying to find the best way to grow. The founders, Reed Hastings and Mark Randolph, knew that their idea of mailing DVDs could change how people rented movies, but they also understood that simply sending DVDs by mail was not enough. They needed to create a system that was easier and better than going to a rental store. At the time, the biggest movie rental company in the world was Blockbuster LLC. Blockbuster had thousands of stores where customers could walk in and rent movies. However, the system had many problems. Customers often had to rush to return movies on time because late fees could become very expensive. Many people also felt frustrated when the movie they wanted was already rented by someone else. Netflix saw this problem as an opportunity. Instead of charging late fees like traditional rental stores, Netflix introduced a completely new idea. The company created a subscription system. Customers could pay a monthly fee and rent DVDs without worrying about late fees. They could keep the movie as long as they wanted. When they finished watching it, they simply mailed it back, and the next movie in their list would be sent automatically. This idea was very different from anything customers had seen before. It made renting movies much more convenient. People no longer needed to drive to a store, wait in line, or rush to return a movie before a deadline. Everything could be done from home using a computer and a mailbox. Another important feature of Netflix was its online movie selection system. Customers created a list of movies they wanted to watch. Netflix called this list a queue. When a customer returned one DVD, the next movie in the queue was automatically shipped. This system helped people plan their movie watching without needing to search for new movies every time. To make this system work, Netflix had to build a large shipping network across the United States. The company opened distribution centers in different cities so DVDs could reach customers quickly. In many cases, people could receive their movies within 1 or 2 days. Each DVD came in a special red envelope that included a prepaid return package, making the process simple for customers. At first, many people were unsure about renting movies online. Internet shopping was still new, and some customers worried about whether the service would work. But as more people tried Netflix, they began to see the advantages. The large movie selection and the convenience of home delivery made the service very attractive. Slowly, Netflix started gaining more subscribers. Word of mouth helped the company grow. Friends told friends about the service, and soon more households were joining the platform. The company's focus on customer convenience made it stand out in the entertainment industry. While Netflix was growing, Blockbuster continued focusing on its traditional stores. At that time, few people realized that the small DVD by mail company was quietly building a system that could challenge the entire movie rental industry. What looked like a simple mailing service was actually the beginning of a major change in how people watched movies. And soon, Netflix would face its biggest test yet, competing directly with the giant that dominated the movie rental world. At the beginning of the 2000s, the movie rental world was still controlled by one giant company, Blockbuster LLC. The company had thousands of stores across the United States and many other countries. Families often visited Blockbuster on weekends to rent movies for the night. It seemed like Blockbuster's success would continue forever. Meanwhile, Netflix was still a small company trying to grow its DVD by mail service. In the year 2000, an important meeting took place between the leaders of Netflix and Blockbuster. Reed Hastings and his team approached Blockbuster with an interesting offer. Netflix was still struggling financially and needed a powerful partner. Hastings suggested that Blockbuster could buy Netflix for about $50 million. The idea was simple. Netflix would manage Blockbuster's online movie business while Blockbuster continued running its retail stores. However, the leaders of Blockbuster did not take the idea seriously. At the time, Netflix seemed like a small company with an uncertain future. Blockbuster believed its stores were strong enough to dominate the market for many more years. According to many reports, the executives at Blockbuster even laughed at the idea of buying Netflix. They decided to reject the offer. This decision would later become one of the most famous mistakes in business history. Over the next several years, Netflix continued improving its service. More people started using the internet, and online shopping became more common. Netflix's subscription system without late fees became very popular with customers. People loved the convenience of choosing movies online and receiving them in the mail. At the same time, Blockbuster began facing serious problems. Many customers were frustrated with late fees, which had been a major source of profit for the company. As Netflix grew, people started leaving traditional rental stores and switching to the new subscription model. Blockbuster tried to respond to the competition by launching its own DVD by mail service. But the company was slow to adapt. Running thousands of physical stores was expensive, and the company struggled to balance its old business model with the new online system. Meanwhile, Netflix focused entirely on improving its technology and customer experience. The difference in strategy became clearer every year. Netflix continued gaining subscribers, while Blockbuster's store traffic slowly declined. Customers were choosing convenience over tradition. Eventually, Blockbuster's financial problems became too large to solve. In 2010, The once powerful company filed for bankruptcy. Many of its stores closed, and the brand that once dominated movie rentals almost disappeared. The story of Netflix and Blockbuster became a powerful lesson in the business world. It showed how quickly industries can change when new technology appears. Companies that fail to adapt to change can lose their position, even if they were once the leaders. For Netflix, the fall of Blockbuster marked an important turning point. The small startup that once tried to sell itself for $50 million had now defeated the giant of the movie rental industry. But Netflix was not finished yet. The company was about to make another bold decision that would change entertainment forever, moving from DVDs to streaming movies online. By the mid-2000s, Netflix had already grown into a successful DVD by mail company. Millions of people across the United States were using the service to rent movies from home. But the leaders of Netflix understood something very important. Technology was changing quickly. Internet speeds were improving, and more people were getting access to fast connections. This change created a new opportunity. Instead of mailing DVDs, movies could be sent directly through the internet. In 2007, Netflix introduced a new feature that would completely transform the company. It launched its online streaming service, which allowed customers to watch movies and television shows instantly on their computers. Instead of waiting for a DVD to arrive in the mail, users could press a button and start watching immediately. This new technology felt almost magical at the time. At first, the streaming library was small. Netflix only had a limited number of movies and shows available online. However, the idea of instant entertainment quickly attracted attention. Many customers enjoyed the convenience of watching content without leaving their homes or waiting for deliveries. Slowly, streaming began to grow. Another important change happened when Netflix started expanding beyond computers. The company worked with electronics manufacturers so its streaming service could appear on devices like smart televisions, gaming consoles, and media players. Soon, people could watch Netflix on devices such as the Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3. This made streaming even more accessible to households around the world. As internet technology improved, streaming became faster and more reliable. Watching movies online was no longer just an experiment. It was becoming the future of entertainment. Netflix slowly began shifting its focus away from DVDs and toward digital streaming. The company also started expanding internationally. After becoming popular in the United States, Netflix launched its service in countries such as Canada, United Kingdom, and Brazil. This global expansion allowed millions of new users to discover the platform. However, the move to streaming was not without challenges. Netflix had to negotiate agreements with movie studios and television networks in order to stream their content online. These deals were often expensive and complicated. Some companies were unsure whether streaming would be profitable or whether it might harm traditional television. Despite these challenges, Netflix continued investing heavily in its streaming technology. The company believed that the future of entertainment would be digital. Instead of owning physical copies of movies, people would access large libraries of content through the internet. Over time, Netflix's streaming service grew rapidly. More customers subscribed to the platform, and streaming began to replace DVD rentals. Eventually, many users stopped ordering DVDs altogether because watching online was simply easier. This moment marked the beginning of a major change in the entertainment industry. Television networks and movie studios started realizing that streaming services could compete with traditional cable television. What started as a small DVD mailing company had now become a powerful digital platform. But Netflix was about to take an even bigger step. Instead of only streaming movies created by others, the company would soon begin producing its own original shows and films. This decision would transform Netflix into one of the most powerful entertainment creators in the world. As Netflix continued growing its streaming service, the company faced a new challenge. Most of the movies and television shows on Netflix were owned by other studios and networks. This meant Netflix had to pay large amounts of money to license the content. It also meant that those companies could remove their shows from Netflix at any time. The leaders of Netflix realized that relying only on outside content could be risky for the future of the company. To solve this problem, Netflix made a bold decision. The company decided to start creating its own movies and television series. This move was unusual because Netflix had originally been a technology company, not a traditional film studio. However, the leadership believed that producing original content would give Netflix more control and make the platform more unique. In 2013, Netflix released one of its first major original television series called House of Cards. The political drama starred well-known actors and had high production quality similar to shows on major television networks. When the series was released, it quickly became very popular. Millions of viewers watched the show, and critics praised its storytelling and acting. The success of House of Cards proved that Netflix could compete with traditional television networks. Around the same time, Netflix introduced another important idea called binge watching. Instead of releasing one episode every week like traditional television, Netflix released entire seasons of shows at once. This allowed viewers to watch multiple episodes in one sitting if they wanted. Many people enjoyed this new style of watching television because it gave them more control over when and how they watched their favorite shows. Following the success of House of Cards, Netflix continued investing in more original content. The company produced many new series, documentaries, and movies. One of the most popular shows to come from Netflix was Stranger Things. This science fiction series became a global hit and attracted millions of fans around the world. Its mix of mystery, adventure, and nostalgia made it one of the platform's most recognizable programs. Netflix also began using data and technology to guide its decisions about content. Because millions of people watched shows on the platform every day, Netflix could study viewing habits. The company analyzed which types of shows people liked, how long they watched, and what genres were most popular. This data helped Netflix decide which kinds of series and movies to produce. As more original shows were created, Netflix slowly transformed into something much bigger than a streaming service. It became a powerful entertainment studio capable of producing high-quality films and television series. Many actors, directors, and writers began working with Netflix because the platform offered creative freedom and global audiences. The company's influence in the entertainment industry continued growing every year. Some Netflix movies were even nominated for major film awards, proving that streaming platforms could compete with traditional movie studios. By creating its own content, Netflix gained greater independence and strengthened its position in the entertainment world. The company was no longer just a place to watch movies, it had become a creator of stories that people around the world loved. But with this success came new competition. Other technology companies and media giants began launching their own streaming platforms. The battle for viewers was just beginning, and Netflix would soon face its biggest challenge yet, the global streaming wars. Over the years, Netflix continued growing and expanding around the world. What started as a small DVD rental company in Los Gatos, California, slowly became one of the most powerful entertainment platforms on the planet. By the late 2010s, Netflix was available in more than 190 countries, allowing millions of people from different cultures to watch movies and shows on the same platform. One reason for this global success was Netflix's focus on international content. Instead of producing shows only for American audiences, the company began creating series and films from many countries. These international productions attracted viewers from all over the world. A famous example is the Korean series Squid Game, which became one of the most watched shows in Netflix history. The success of such programs proved that stories from different cultures could reach a global audience. As Netflix expanded, new competitors began entering the streaming market. Large media companies realized that streaming was becoming the future of entertainment. Companies like Disney launched their own streaming services, while tech companies such as Amazon and Apple also created platforms to compete for viewers. This intense competition became known as the streaming wars. The streaming wars changed the entertainment industry dramatically. Movie studios that once sold their films to Netflix started keeping their content for their own platforms. As a result, Netflix had to rely even more on its original productions. The company responded by investing billions of dollars each year into creating new movies, documentaries, and television series. Despite the competition, Netflix continued attracting millions of subscribers. One reason was its powerful recommendation system. Using advanced algorithms, Netflix suggests shows and movies based on what each user enjoys watching. This personalized experience helps viewers discover new content that matches their interests. Netflix also helped change the way people watch entertainment. In the past, viewers had to follow television schedules and watch shows at specific times. With streaming, people can watch what they want, whenever they want. This freedom completely transformed the habits of audiences around the world. The company's influence has also affected the movie industry. Some Netflix films are released directly on the platform instead of in movie theaters. This has created debates about the future of cinemas and traditional film distribution. Some filmmakers support streaming because it reaches global audiences instantly, while others believe the theater experience is still important. Today, Netflix remains one of the most recognized entertainment brands in the world. Its journey from mailing DVDs to streaming global content shows how quickly technology can change an industry. The company continues experimenting with new ideas, including interactive shows and different ways for audiences to experience stories. Looking ahead, the future of Netflix will depend on how it adapts to the rapidly changing entertainment world. Competition will continue growing, and new technologies will keep shaping how people watch content. But one thing is clear. What began as a simple idea to rent DVDs without late fees has grown into a global entertainment revolution. Netflix did not just follow the future of television, it helped create it. And the story of how it took over the world is still being written.